Hi, so I'm Robin Zodiac, and today is Sunday, January 7th, 2018. And I already talked about the Golden Globes just a moment ago. So today I want to talk about Jeff Sessions, and who's the Attorney General of the Cabinet of the United States Administration, which is the President, Vice President, Secretary of State, which deals with foreign affairs, and the Treasury Department, which is basically the Attorney General is overhead of the monies. So the Attorney General's office actually called me in the middle of November after the Corning, California lone gunman had gone crazy in a town of population about 500. So the Attorney General's office in DC called me to make a statement, and I did mention this on a previous radio show. And all I have to say is that I had to confirm some information that had to deal with the State Department, which is Foreign Affairs. So California becoming a sanctioned city or a sanctioned state or a sanctioned county or a sanctioned land allows foreigners to be here without being questioned of their status. Also, the DMV is making it mandatory in the next year and a half to 2 years that all residents of California renew their driver's license with a passport. And all travelers coming in and out of California has to show their ID, which is attached to the passport, which is attached to your Social Security trust. Well, when FDR created the Social Security Trust, it was basically a credit to credit farmers and agricultural, and that's where Corning, California is in Tehama County, which is the biggest county and of the union that benefits on the grants that come from the Social Security Trust. Well, Social Security is backed up not by gold, not by any product, but it's backed up by your heritage. It's called relative value, and where you came from genetically has everything to do with your value of your Social Security Trust, or the value on the trust comes through genetics of where you came from, your zip code, from your heritage, your ancestry. It's something that was instated 500 years ago by the Queen of Spain. I think it was Queen Isabella, when she had sent Europeans that were criminals to this country of the Northern Americas, which was once called the United States, but California broke away, Texas broke away, and Alaska broke away, all having a federal court called the Ninth Circuit Court. So basically it's all breaking away legally, and Jeff Sessions is up in arms because it's a catch-22, because the greenbacks, which was basically money that Lincoln started printing with a loan that he accepted from the Romanovs, which was the Russian royals. He accepted a $50 million loan to create greenback and back it up with gold. So basically his murder was plotted by 5 Canadians, who is once again the Commonwealth country connected to the Queen of England. Well, anyway, the Bank of England began with Meyer Rothschild, which is Red Shield is the name, but it was Mayer Bauer that actually was the one that started the central banks with money-backed security for paper money. Well, in 1666, there was a Dutchman that went to the King of England and appealed to his greed to start the first paper currency that failed miserably, and who was jailed by the King of England, and he was a Dutchman from the Netherlands. Well, the Netherlands were the ones that backed up World War II. It was the Rothschilds that basically wanted to put the central bank in Germany, and Wall Street was bought by a Dutchman from the Indians, and Wall Street is actually a street, I think it's 14 Wall Street, which is the amount of money that was paid, $14 to the Indian tribe to buy Wall Street. So Wall Street is basically the Netherlands. They sent John McCloy over to negotiate the U.S.-Germany Commission, which is money to give to the Zionists so that they can claim their Jerusalem, and also pay on reparation to the Zionist organization, and that means they're worldwide, and if they file their taxes through Israel, they actually get money for terrorism and droughts. So when you see on the news how they say that the terrorists' families get paid for the terrorist acts, that's not true. It's the Zionists that get paid on death, war, and jail. We'll get to that with Bill Clinton in another episode. So the reason why Jeff Sessions is fighting so hard is that Calexit has been going on since tax day of 2016. And we are not going to be backing our monies up with gold. We are going to be backing it up with hemp, marijuana. And it's interesting because when the Attorney General called me about Corning, California, Corning is like the material that the DuPonts actually manufacture. And the DuPonts also hold the patent trade to GMO foods, which is Monsanto. And also, there's a lawsuit going currently with the patent holder of the hemp seed, which also took place in Corning, California, which is in Tehama County, and like I had said, is the biggest county or organization or corporation that is funded through this FDR fraudulent transaction that took place back in 1933 when he defied the Bank Relief Act with the Emergency Bank Relief Act, and basically no politician has the authority to decide on monies or financial matters, no one that is in elective office. That means that as a citizen, basically the hemp patent holder is in court and is over the judges and over the bar association, and that's another story, and over DuPont. And the interesting thing is that DuPont is actually married into the family of the hemp patent holder. And the reason why the hemp patent holder isn't exposed is because of FISA court, which is a court that was designed in the 70s. I believe it had a lot to do with Jacqueline Kennedy and her taking this photographer to court to make sure that he didn't capitalize on her family's image or information or make it public, because it holds a year prison sentence and a $120,000 fine to expose any of this information, which is in talks, but there's already, in the lawsuit and negotiations, there's so many catch-22s all over the place that it's really a huge mess, that it's going to take an army of bar associations and the Ethics Commission office to figure this one out in the state of California. So that's where, we have to focus on our own people and basically disconnect from the union of the other states, as Texas is going to disconnect, and so is Alaska. Alaska went back to Russia May 10th of this year, of this past year, 2017. So that's why Jeff Sessions is all upset, because California is disconnecting from the central banks. We're going to have our own currency. We're going to be our own country. We already went into motion 2016 on tax day, and we're going to stay on that course for the next 8 years until California becomes Calico, which is why it's a sanctioned city, so that California and Mexico merge and become the biggest acceptors, I guess you could say, or the biggest countries to be able to, are entitled to those credit benefits that are put in trust at birth. So California and Mexico will share the same trusts, and also Mexico is the wealthiest country in the world when it comes to oil. So smart CIA intelligence agent, huh? Very good. Hope you enjoyed this. Remember to subscribe. Subscribe!